this special meeting. And the very first thing I'd like to do is make a motion that we appoint Township Administrator Huffman as Deputy Township Fiscal Officer per ORC 507.02 for the purposes of taking a roll call on the notes of this meeting.
I'll second.
Trustee Sword?
Yes.
Trustee Justberger?
Yes.
Trustee Sarah?
Yes. And I suppose we just maybe call the roll.
Trustee Sarah?
Yes.
Trustee Sword?
Yes.
Trustee Justberger?
Yes.
Next, I move that we accept the document entitled Resolution Number 21-08-009, which is a resolution to proceed with the removal of the unsafe, insecure, or structurally defective structure from the property owned by Acme Architecture LLC, located at 942 Chambers Circle on Franklin County parcel number 130-001626-00 in Clinton Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
I'll second.
Ready for a vote? Trustee Justberger?
Yes.
Trustee Sword?
Yes.
Trustee Sarah?
Yes. Our next item is a discussion of our masking requirements, which we've gone back to all of us being required to be in masks at this point in time. I wanted to, I want to honor the fact that some people need a medical exception to that. We don't really have a procedure for that at this time. So when I talked to Pete after our last meeting, he recommended that we adopt something so that we have a way for folks to do that, so that we're not just facing a room full of people who don't want to wear masks. Who does? So I wanted to see if the board feels like that's an appropriate direction to head. I have a motion for your consideration then. I'd like to move that during such a time as when masks or face coverings are required to be worn by the township, that members of the public wishing to be excluded from wearing a mask or face covering must provide to the township administrator a doctor's letter stating that the person has a medical condition preventing them from wearing a mask or face covering.
A doctor's letter?
Can I get a second and we
I'll
can?
second.
Okay, and then we can have whatever discussion we need.
I'm sorry, second? Okay.
So it's, do you want me to just reread it, or is?
No, I mean, I'm a little concerned about the doctor's letter because a lot of physicians require an appointment to get something like that. You know what I mean? Is that something that's gonna be hard to obtain for somebody to come to a meeting that doesn't have a printer or something like that? That's my only concern.
What would be the solution?
I mean, the whole thing's based on the honor system, honestly, which is the hard fact of it all. You know, everybody's got to either believe you're vaccinated or prove you're vaccinated.
I guess I felt like if someone has a medical condition, they're probably have the means to be.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
For it, and
I just don't want anybody to be excluded if they weren't able to produce a physician's letter.
Does any of that requesting or mandating proof, does any of that violate HIPAA?
No, it does not.
no, it would if we were asking what the condition was, for example, but
Yeah.
not, that's why I got Pete's opinion, and they looked over this language. Actually, Pete answered the original call, and Julie helped out with the language.
Sure.
To make sure it was ADA and HIPAA compliant.
I would not want to have a resident not included if they don't have a mask, but they say that they have a condition. I think the last meeting, because we were in a fire bay and we had that big door open, I think that it was helpful when the one resident just moved to the back be here because they don't have, like, that would just be my concern, is Natalie Galena not wanting.
Yeah, I just don't want anybody to be excluded. I mean, I think we know most of our residents well enough that attend the meetings to know what their current health condition is, but that's not for us to determine either. It's just a sticky subject.
I just wanna feel safe doing my job.
Absolutely, no, I
I just
completely
wanna,
agree.
I firmly believe that no matter how bad this gets, and I firmly believe it's gonna get worse by fall, I firmly believe that no matter how bad it gets, the state legislature being a Republican majority and being so anti-public health with some of their legislation is not going to allow us to go back to video conferencing no matter how bad it gets. I firmly believe that. And I also want to be able to sit in a room and not have 10 people around me unmasked who are just saying that they have a health condition and are not wearing a mask today. With because we know politically there's a lot of folks out there who simply resent it, who don't want to comply, and has nothing to do, it could very well have nothing to do with the medical condition. If it does, certainly, I'm all about honoring it, but I'd like to have some kind of mechanism to feel safe so that we don't find ourselves in a meeting and we're the only ones wearing masks.
It's understandable. It's just like stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Are we allowed to ask the two residents here what they think, or is that not forced? Okay, I don't know if we're allowed to do that. Do either of you have any ideas or opinions on this?
There are very few medical conditions I can think of that would make people be intolerant of a simple face mask. Having spent a fair amount of my time in life in a Class A suit or a pallet, I can tell you that this is really diddly squat. Now, I believe that there are people who don't like it because it infringes on them. But, I mean, it's like these are the same people who smoked when all the stuff came up that said, oh, by the way, nicotine is a carcinogen, and it's. So, I mean, there are people who just lack the cognizance, I think, to actually, they just don't behave in an appropriate manner. But so, as far as what you want to do with the crowd, Target has a big sign on the door that says no entry now, again, without no masking. And I think you're right that, I don't know where it comes from, but with the climate of the legislature now, it's like, oh, you can't do that. You can sell an underground magazine for an assault rifle, but you can't put a face mask on somebody for your safety. But so I would say, no shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service. Unless you want to get them a screen to stand behind, so like they could be in their own little room.
I agree with Holly. She's has 3 decades of medical experience.
40.
Four decades. So I'm going to go with the 40 decades of medical experience.
I could be younger.
Thank you. Yeah, for me, it's just, if I had a choice not to participate, I'd feel differently. But I don't. And it feels like I ought to be able to do my job safely. And everybody in this building can do their job safely.
No,
Why not me?
I totally agree, and it is a good point that the paper masks that we do hand out are not, they're not going to inhibit breathing properly.
And even if they do, again, we're giving you an out.
Yeah.
We're giving you a way around that. And, and we've got our live stream. I mean, it's not like people don't have other choices if they're really philosophically bent in a certain direction, but I would just
That's a good point.
I would just appreciate being able to feel like we've done what we can do. After that,
Yeah, Unfortunately,
Who knows,
your
right?
building doesn't come with negative airflow, so you're
No.
kind of hosed.
Right. I mean, yeah, I'm not thinking of topic. Sorry, that would have been off topic. What else does anyone want to say about the vetting? I guess we're ready for a roll call then, just have to on the motion.
Trustee Sword,
Yes.
trustee Justburger,
Yes. Yes.
trustee Sarah.
Yes. Thank you. Unless anyone has any ideas, I don't believe we have any other actions necessary related to these topics. So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Jordan.
I'll second.